Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Marcus here again. I'm always talking about basic human rights for all people, which means your right to live on this earth as though you're in heaven. And when I speak to you, I mean, this thing is so serious to me. It's a lifetime of work. And many of you don't know, some of you will hear me sometimes for the very first time, but I just like to kind of make it known every now and then that after 40 years, it is determined by me that America needs a change. I mean, a real change. And for this period of time, I have sought after means and ways that I might be able to say something or do something that might catch America's attention, get persuade them more or less that this change that I speak of is a day late, long overdue. In the early years of the campaign, I used to spend a lot of time violating the rules. Many times I'd go to jail. In fact, when I was in the Navy, I quit the Navy when Ronald Reagan was president because of his conduct when it came to policies that had to do with the poor or poor nations. Well, you know, Ronald Reagan was loved by many people, people that he benefited. But for those who he did not benefit, I mean, that was lovely, and that was important to me because of the mission that I've been given. So I decided not to take orders from Ronald Reagan as a protest of the policies that he was making, but to also give me a chance to stand up and speak for something that I know is much, much better, but giving you a chance to hear it. So maybe you can have a decision or have something to say. And several times I've been in prison. I've been in prison. Just all of that was just to get your attention. To get your attention that at a day in that time, for a day like now, you can see the activities that the divine God was using others to do for you way back there. That stuff that's evident today, that's right on time today. So this, I don't think very many politicians will stand up and tell you that I've been to prison standing up for your rights. You got a guy nowadays who says, I've been standing up for your rights and they trying to put me in prison. Now, I don't know, whatever you got to get out of that, that's out of that. But I would like to say, my friends, that it is a wonderful thing to have a vision about a life that's so wonderful that you're willing to sacrifice, but for the for the message, for the mission, and at the same time, I mean, you're really blessed because there's something that comes out of your actions that the world can't give, the world can't take away, and it's absolutely fantastic. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't gone through that. I call myself a social scientist and one who have had the receipt of miracles and seen the divine power at work. In my own life, I feel very legitimate when I stand before you and tell you that I've observed living in this society for quite some time and what I have experienced based upon what my desire for life is, which I feel is so interchangeable with yours, and where I see the conflict is, that it gives me a chance that I should stand up and speak to you so I can say that what is really going on today is that America has boarded a ship, destination the worst. I am sent to save the nation. It is my responsibility to give her the message, just the message of her liberation. And it's expressed in what I call as in heaven, so on earth. This is our human duty. It is our human responsibility on earth. We the people, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really expecting you. I want you, I hope that you listen. Because we the people, it is our duty to effect the plan by following the codes of love, the codes of truth and righteousness in our daily living. My job is to check the nation, for she knows nothing about truth. We are living as human beings, as Americans, all of us all over the earth, we are living a lie. The areas of life that we address are the same in heaven. The difference is our duty and our way of doing that is for peace. It's for love. It's for joy and happiness. But the deceptive way is for some. This is how we always can determine what's going on, and not for others. Americans are so caught up, though, on their path from truth, and I mean just that, until if God had not intervened, Donald Trump may have been elected. America is evil enough for something like that to happen in the United States. Check it out. The Senate, the United States Senate, the House of Representatives, the Supreme Court, the Attorney General, the President of the United States, every religion, including the Constitution, and that includes the people. Do you know what? They all prove Satan to be cool because they have made the decision that it's okay to live with that. Everyone have bought into this lie that God approves of this house with its hate, its racism, its bigotry, and all the dirt that falls from it, which is acceptable by every American. It's anti-God, anti-truth. Yet humans act like this because whatever they are, whatever they represent, they were taught. They learned from all of us for different reasons, but from all of us nonetheless. Stephen King had a book, turned movie called The Stand. Now in it there is a character as the devil that warns us about people like Donald J. Trump. See, in the movie, that's an actor. But Trump is a real deal. But America can't see it. They can't see it because though they don't register with Trump, they have accepted the way that things are. But to avoid hell, you must accept heaven. There's no in between. To accept it, you must build it. Dealing with truth and facts, it is a very simple matter for change. But just to be fair with you, God is prepared that all may live a satisfied life. Every human being on the face of the earth, God has prepared that we should live a satisfied life by having all our needs, all our wants, and all our desires met at our choosing. That the people may exercise peace and prosperity and freedom and joy and happiness, living their dreams, suffering a lack for nothing in life. Not food, clothing, not shelter or education, not health care or infrastructure, or anything that's made at the hands of man. All of this and all is required is that we the people accept the fact that humans are under the authority of a creator that wants loyalty from the body, the soul, and the mind of every human. It is called the commandment, the greatest commandment of love. And it is absolutely required. But now, the second commandment is just like the first commandment. And it is that we, the people, having loved God with all our heart, soul, body, and mind, now must love one another as we love ourselves. You can't lose. You can't lose. It's so simple. It's so simple. Now, the thing that really makes it laughable sometimes is that it has always been this simple. And it has always been there. And we have rejected it because we bought something else. We bought a lie that says what happens in America might not be the greatest, but it's okay. That's what we have accepted. Others in Germany, same thing. In Russia, same thing. China, same thing. North Korea, everybody doing the same thing. Why? Because this is what we basically know. And the stuff that really frees us, we don't know anything about it. And we have nothing but massive fear when we don't know what's going on. And when it comes down to God, people just don't know what's going on. Too many liars. And only one, let me tell you this, listen to me good, ladies and gentlemen. Only one that know the truth will walk according to God. Now, we'll all try to a certain degree. But knowing the truth will free you. Our biggest fear is death. Well, we got a lot of fear not having money, but our real fear is death. But when you know the truth, you don't fear death. And not fearing death allows you to be free from anything that you don't want to bend over to. Can't nothing hurt you. Killing you is freedom, real freedom, freeing you from this hell that you're in. Because while you're in this hell, you see this stuff. I see white people, look, when I see people sometime on television, especially the mega group, and they are talking about Donald Trump, and they're saying stuff like if he was in jail, locked up from these charges, they would still want him. They still vote for him. They still believe that he wouldn't tell a lie. And you sit there and you listen to that. And you say, people are just that vulnerable. And people like Donald Trump will take advantage of them. They will come up and tell them all kinds of lies, trip at all kinds of lies. And these people believe that. And these are people that will do some silly stuff behind some silly stuff. But this is what they've been taught. And so we can't just think that locking them up is going to do something. I mean, we can hold them back for a while if you're doing some rehabilitation. But in the meantime, you can't stay where you are. That created them. You got to get yourself a new partner. And I'm advocating that you get the partner of God. I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, that we can keep on running our systems of government as we got them, but we must make them righteous. We must make them represent God. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, turn that system around and make it represent God. And that basically means that all of the people in these different systems are satisfied. There ain't no fighting going on. Ain't nobody cussing nobody out. Why? Because people doing what they want to do. Life now is life. And it basically starts when you start giving your attention to a spirit that you allow to live in you, and stop listening to people trying to tell you that somebody's better, somebody deserves more. And I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of that. Somebody's just as tired of something else that you are tired about. And in order to eliminate that, you got to care about one another. If people got problems, you care about the problem. You're not up there mad trying to point your finger at them. There are causes that that make these problems exist. Talking a long time. Well, there's causes that allow these problems to exist. And compassionate people try to find out what those causes are. Why? That's what God does. Don't be talking about God or someplace else, God or some spirit. God should be in you, but he's not. And we know he's not now. And one other thing I want to say before in my closing, let me see. Every last one of us are 100% sinners. Now, you know, we say all the time that we're all sinners, but I'm talking about real sinners that's not fit for heaven, not fit. And I know we have convinced ourselves that we will never be fit, but our going to heaven is some gift that angels were kicked out of heaven for doing. Angels were kicked out of heaven for what we get the gift for. Is that, look, even Adam and Eve failed, lost the wonderful blessing because they failed. That was the outcome. In the beginning, what they say about the flood, that was representative of failure. What about Sodom and Gomorrah? I think there's something about Sodom and Gomorrah that says something that was failure. And as crooked as we are today, we have allowed somebody to convince us that God is going to forgive us for what he condemned everybody else for and bring us back up there knowing God dog well. Unless we change, we gonna keep right on doing the same thing we've been doing all the time. And God is stupid enough. They want us to think that God is stupid enough to ignore that and bring us back up there like we gonna have it together. And if God ain't gonna put some knife or some gun or some bomb over us, we not gonna act right. So that don't make sense. So I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, we have a responsibility. We allow God to live in us, and we follow God's plan. And we engage ourselves in the process of creating what God allows us to create, which basically means our survival, those things that are essential for us, or that we have determined are essential. And we continue to create through the abundance and time and stuff past wherever God wants to lead us. If it go into other galaxies, wherever God wants to lead us, we are there to go and do that. But we're doing it because we now have the liberty and the freedom to engage ourselves, and every engagement is interconnected in such a way that it has a product that affects all of us in bringing to us the peace and prosperity and the joy and the happiness of life. That's what living heavenly is all about. Don't need to lie, no cheating, no stealing. See, remember that. Don't have none of that is required because it's eliminated. So I want to stand up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be telling you. I'm going to be for the next year. I remember telling you before that when Donald Trump got into this process, this political thing, that I was going to respond, and that every day, at least a few times a week, of what's going on with him, because I just hoped America was bigger than that, much better than that as well. They weren't, but now I got this thing going on, which I want to remind you: give God the break, and you get the benefit. Give God the break, and you get the benefit. All right? I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure I'll be back in a day. Till then, bye-bye.